Hey folks, DIY Dan here. Going to try something different today. Um, it is the 2nd of January 2022, so Happy New Year. I did some electrical work in my office here, and to be honest with you, number one, disclaimer, I'm not an electrician. So if you are not comfortable with working with electricity in any way, or you have any doubt in what you're doing, please call a professional. So let's get that out of the way. I'm pretty comfortable with light electrical work. Like I couldn't rough in electrical stuff in an addition or anything like that, although never tried it. Or anything complicated like wiring in a new panel or something. But what I did was in my office here, there was no overhead light fixture, and the switch that was in the room controlled one outlet, because my house was built in '86, I think, and they did that in a lot. I've only got one other room that does that, and that's my master bedroom. But we actually like that because of the way we have it set up, but I digress. So what I wanted to do, and this room is pretty warm because it's got my PC in it, it's got a little dorm fridge and some other things in it. You can hear in the background turtle. So a lot of mechanisms in place in this room. It stays warm. So I wanted to put a ceiling fan with a light on it. But there was no fixture and all that. So I went and did some research and I did that. So what I want to do is it's already done. As you can see, there it is. But I want to walk you through what I did and kind of show it to you in case that might be helpful. I might link some other videos that has more detail so you can watch those from other folks, but this is what I did. So let's get started. Okay, first thing first, let me show you what I originally had. I originally had in this, and by the way, there are no sponsors this video, so if you see brand name things, they are in there by happenstance, not because they're a sponsor. So I'll try to keep them out. This switch, just a typical toggle switch, is a cheap, construction contractor version. It's probably the original switch on off. So what I did is I wanted to swap it with these paddle switches. So, I don't know, like that. There was only one here, so I had to expand the box to 2. And if you're wondering what that 24 is, that's the circuit breaker it's on. I'm slowly labeling all my circuits this way so I know which ones to turn off in the future. Anyway, and then for the outlet, that was down there, it's right there. Matter of fact, there's torch lights running off of it right now. Just a standard contractor grade outlet. And what I had done by an electrician, because I had an electrician do this, is they snap this tab off in between these two terminals, and that's what made it possible for the top outlet to be operated by the switch and the bottom one to be constant hot. And I didn't want that anymore. I wanted to light this torch light here, which is the only light we had in the room, to be active. And now we got to use the actual switch on it right there. So that was my goal. And then, of course, putting that in. So what I had to do first is get a mounting kit because I didn't have one. So I got one, and I'll link all this stuff in the description because I realize you can't see it right now. But this is actually a bottom floor. It's a 2-story house, so there's no attic to run in, which made it a challenge. So all I had was the space in between the ceiling and the floor upstairs. So it was difficult in that respect. But I found the center of the room, and there's a whole bunch of different ways to do that. What you can do is run a string or something diagonally from corner to corner, and then the other corner to the other corner, and where they cross in the middle of the center. Or you can measure the length here and then put a half mark, measure the length there, put half mark all the way around, and then where all those points meet is the middle, whatever way you want to do it. I did a kind of a combination of, because I didn't have a rope I could string that distance. It was quite a distance. Anyway, found the center, drilled a hole in the ceiling, and I believe it ended up, I didn't have a 2-inch circular bit, but I had a drywall saw, so that's what I used. And found out that my rafters run this way, not this way, which I already knew, which meant that I'm going to have to run my wire from here all the way to there, which was going to require putting holes in. You've already seen there's a hole there I had to put in there. There's a hole there in the ceiling I had to put in there. There's a hole there in the ceiling. And that was all designed to, as you can see, the cable there, that's the new Romex. I bought 14.3, which means 14 is the gauge. The lower the number, the larger in diameter the wiring is. So, and then the 3 is the number of wires in there, not including the ground. So the reason why I got 14.3 instead of 14.2 is because I wanted that extra lead to run the light off the fan, because the fan's got an extra cable in it so that I could run the light independent of the fan. I got a pack, I think it was a 15-foot pack, and for me that was a roll of Romex, and that actually worked out perfect. I only ended up with a little extra. So anyway, once I got that hole done, I made this hole next, and then, not sure if you can see it, but I had to drill a hole in the rafter there, and then the next rafter. So I bought a drill bit extension, and I used a 1/2-inch paddle bit, and I started from over here. But my challenge was that I have in between these rafters. Let's see if you can see it over here. You probably, yeah, you can. See that angled board right there? See it? You got it right there. They would crisscross, one going this way, one going this way, all for stability, which is great. But when I drilled that hole for that, it was right next to, there was a paddle, there was a board going that way. I had to get rid of that, and then I had to drill through them blind, making this path all the way to here. Now you see how far I came away from crown molding in the wall, because it's easier to patch the drywall from a distance. Besides, it was actually ended up being good because the wall plate's like right beyond there in the hole. And then I wanted to make as few holes as possible, so I made this hole in the wall, and then, as you can see, drilled up through the wall plate, the top plate, right there. Now there's 2 sets of 2x4s there, so that took some doing. I'm not gonna lie to you, it was hard. At least for me it was, because I used that extension on top of it, and I didn't want to make this hole any bigger than it had to be. But that hole goes up through both top plates into the ceiling, and then the next task was to fish the wire, and actually coming from this direction, because that's where I started from. I started from the fan, and ran it this way, so then I had to put the hole in that plate right there. Sorry for the lighting, I know it sucks. And then my chore was to run the fishing thing up this hole, get it to curve, and then somehow grab it with another tool, another flexible wire run tool with a hook on it, and catch it and pull it through that hole and come this way. I am not gonna lie, I was very lucky and caught it right away and was able to pull it through, but that could have taken a very long time, and I'm sure there's somebody out there that knows a better way of doing that. God bless you for it, because I don't know. Like I said, this isn't my forte. So this wire then runs down to the switch. So just for some context, my hot from the panel comes up here from down through the floor. And then I've got another one, that pre-existing line that goes up. Well, that line actually goes to the outlet there. So I originally thought it went directly to it, but from what I've realized, I believe it goes up, goes over the door, and then starts with the outlet back here where that power strip is plugged in, and then powers that outlet first, and then goes around the whole room. So this one would be the last one on the circuit. So, well, there is an outlet on the other side of this wall, so I'm sure that one's the first one in the series. But anyway, I didn't know. I didn't investigate it. So once I got all the wiring run, I wired up the switches. Oh, actually, I cut a hole. I used an old work box, and I cut the hole. I measured it out. Cut the hole, fitted everything, brought the cabling in, disconnected all the pigtails, and put the new pigtails between the two switches. So I ran the black to the bottom of this one. So I'll show you on this switch because they're similar, but I ran. Well, this is not similar. It's actually more similar to this outlet because it has the same screws on it. So I ran a black to the bottom one. Again, it doesn't matter necessarily. And then I ran another black to this one. I'm sorry, the red one from the 14.3, the new cable. So this is the one that from the line that comes from up here where the power's coming in to the wall. And I'm going to try to remember the best I can. Sorry if I get it wrong, but there's other videos out there that'll tell you to do it. The hot one from the power line, or the hot line. And then I had a pigtail. I pigtailed all the neutrals, so they're all pigtailed together. And then I ran the red wire from the new line, which was coming into the box here, to this one, to this switch here. There was no pigtail in that. That was a direct run. And then I also had a pigtail from the hot, which is actually what was on here. It wasn't the true one. It was a pigtail to this one, and then another pigtail to this switch from the hot. And then this one had the black from the new Romex run here. And then of course your neutrals were on this switch. You had one neutral pigtail, another neutral pigtail on that one. I believe that's how I wired it. I apologize. It was a lot of work and I didn't feel like taking it apart, so forgive me. Anyway, and then what I did was the wire coming out of here going to the outlets was 14.3 also, but I didn't need that third red wire. So I just snipped it down to the cover and put a wire nut on it just to cap it off so it wouldn't do anything. And then that wire, I did a continuity test, and there was the same wire down here. So once I did the continuity test and found out which red wire was that one, I snipped that one and capped that one off. So it's still in there, but it's capped off. It's not being used. And then I replaced that outlet with this one like this that wasn't snipped. And now both top and bottom are always hot because that bottom outlet has this refrigerator on it. Then I put in the box to hold it and the fan, and again I'll link that in the description. This one I think can support up to 50 pounds, which this fan is nowhere near 50 pounds. So it might be a little overkill, but that's okay. That's what I wanted. And ran the box, did the wiring per the manufacturer specs on this fan, which this is a Hamilton Bay, I believe. I'm sorry, it's a Hunter. So whatever their manufacturer specifications were, and buttoned all and installed it according to their installation instructions. Ceiling fans aren't that difficult. I've done many of them in existing ceiling outlets. So that's kind of the way it goes. So now when I hit the light switch, we have light, and as you can see, the fan doesn't come on. And then when I hit the fan switch, the fan comes on. And that's exactly what I wanted. So there you go. I don't know if that explanation is going to help you or harm you. Like I said, I'll try to link some of the videos that go into actual detail. I didn't want to film it while I was doing it because, frankly, I wasn't sure I was going to accomplish my goal. And last thing I want, this, because of my lack of knowledge and the trouble I had going through all those rafters, I think I had to go through 4 or 5 joists I had to drill through. And you want to drill through the middle of them, not closer to the top or closer to the bottom. Try to get as centered on those as you can. That was a pain, and it took me probably all day, good 8 hours with a break for lunch. So there's your time frame for that. But I'm happy with the results. I may or may not try to fix the holes myself. My original plan was just to call a professional in that I know that did some other work around the house for me, but I may try to at least do the patchwork myself and see how it comes out. We'll see. Anyway, click on like, subscribe. I appreciate you watching. Thanks everyone, and the likes help out a lot, and the subscriptions, I love them too. So y'all have a great day. Hopefully 2022 will be a great year, and we'll see you next time on the DIY Dan channel.